Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about selected markings from the appendicular skeleton. Most of the main bones and markings that are on your lab practical list can be found in your textbook. However, I did want to go over a few of the markings that students tend to get a little bit confused about here. So once again, this is not all of the bones and markings you will need for your assignment. This is just some of them. First one I want to talk about is the Acromion process. So if you look at the back of the skeleton, you can see, that the scapula is right here, and this part is the spine of the scapula, and at the very end of the spine is the acromion process. And you can see that it articulates. Remember, articulation is just when two bones meet. It articulates with the clavicle, which is on the front of the body. So this S-shaped bone is the clavicle. A lot of times people will call that the collarbone. And then it articulates with the acromion process of the scapula. This little divot in here where we have a metal attachment, but in your actual body you don't have anything in there, that's going to be the glenoid fossa, and it articulates with the head of the humerus. Moving down a little bit lower on the humerus, one thing that people often get confused about is the capitulum, which is on the anterior surface of the humerus. Remember, the anterior surface is the front, and the capitulum is right here. And it's usually a little ball that you would see, and that is going to articulate with the head of the radius. Another marking that students often get confused about is the olecranon process. That's actually on the posterior side of the ulna. So we're looking at the back side of the humerus here, and then this is the ulna, and this marking right here, this ball right there, is the olecranon process. Most people refer to it as the funny bone. So this is the funny bone of the elbow, and it's on the back side of the ulna. Moving down to the hips, we have two markings on the very anterior surface of the hip. One's right here and one's right here. Those are both called the anterior superior iliac spine. And you can actually feel these on your own body. So if you were to put your hand like in your jean pocket and you feel like a little bump from your hip sticking out, that's actually these two processes. And these are used as major anatomical landmarks for surgery. When they're trying to do abdominal surgery, they will find these two. They call them ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine. They will find those two and know exactly where to start cutting. The iliac crest is the rest of this bone right here. So you've got an iliac crest on that side and an iliac crest on this side. The greater sciatic notch is hard to see from the front. You can kind of see it if I turn the skeleton a little bit, but it's this area right here. And that's where the sciatic nerve goes through. So if anybody's ever talked to you about sciatica, they often have trouble with the nerve going through here down towards the bottom of the body at the leg. So this is the greater sciatic notch. We have a lesser sciatic notch right there. That's not on your lab practical list, but just so you know, the reason there's a greater sciatic notch is because there's also a lesser sciatic notch. Okay, moving down the body, on the legs. I'm having to sit on the floor for this. I don't have a full-size skeleton at home. So moving down the body, the anterior border is on the front side of the tibia right here. And that's actually the part of your lower leg that you often smash against things. So for example, in my house, if somebody leaves the dishwasher open and you're walking around and you don't notice it, this is the sort of unprotected bony area on the front of your shin that gets smashed into the dishwasher. And that's called the anterior border of the tibia. And then you also have a couple of condyles that you need to identify. So remember that the medial side of the leg is the side that's closer to the midline. So this is the medial side of the right leg. This is the medial side of the left leg. So the medial condyle would be under here. The condyle is the part that articulates with, let me try and hold it up. Sorry guys, I know this is like probably making you car sick. The medial condyle is the part that articulates with the tibia. So here's the top of the tibia, And here's the condyle. It's on the underside or the inferior side of the femur. And then the epicondyle, remember that epi means above, the epicondyle is right above the condyle. So it's this part up here. So the medial condyle is smooth because it articulates with the top of the tibia right here. It actually sits in a meniscus. And the medial epicondyle is rough. And it's rough because there's actually a lot of muscle attachments that will attach on this area and coming from the lower leg. The medial malleolus or malleolus is this part right here. That's the inner ankle bone. So both of these are medial. That's it for today. See you in class.